let's talk about what defines a good refinance. Well, typically people, when they hear the term refinance, it means that they're going to refinance their home mortgage and use the proceeds of that loan to pay off other debt and essentially save them some money every month. So let's talk about what defines a good refinance. And I have 3 tips, 3 things that I believe make up a good refinance. The first, well, this one's pretty obvious. Get the most favorable, absolutely the very best deal you can, the best interest rate, and hopefully no closing costs. There's a lot of competition these days for mortgages, and you shouldn't have any real problem getting a loan with no closing costs. And when it comes to the amount of the terms, the amount of interest you'll have to pay, get the lowest rate you can. And obviously to do that, your credit has to be in the best possible situation that it can be in order to be rewarded with that lower interest rate. And that leads me to tip number 2. When you're shopping around, I call this creative refinance or creative mortgage shopping. When you're shopping around for a mortgage, the last thing you want to do is go to 2 or 3 different brokers and sign up the paperwork where they're going to actually pull your credit. If you do that, what's going to happen is those 3 inquiries to your credit report could lower your score before you get the loan and before you qualify, which could mean you're going to wind up with a higher interest rate than you would if they didn't pull your credit the way I'm talking about here. So how do you do that? It's pretty simple. Get a copy of your credit report and possibly even your credit scores and go to all of the brokers you're shopping around with and say, here's my credit report. I want you to give me a quote based on this information because I'm shopping around and I know that whatever quote you're going to give me is probably not going to be exactly the type of quote that would be the one you'd give me if you actually pulled my information. But I'm going to use this as a baseline with the brokers that I'm talking with. And the best rate and the best quote that I get from this information is the one I'm going to actually sign for you to have the opportunity to pull my credit and then proceed with the paperwork. Well, that is the way you can get the best interest rate without jeopardizing your credit during the process. And tip number 3, well, I believe that every refinance should have a very specific purpose and a good purpose. If you're just thinking you want to save money every month so you can spend more, consider this. Think about right now how much you're paying for car payments, house payments, credit card payments, whatever it might be. Now you're thinking, guess what? If I do a refinance and I pay off all that high interest debt, I'm going to have $3, $4, $5, $6, however many $100 a month available to spend. The last thing you want to do is get caught in the trap where you go out, pay off all those credit cards, get rid of those payments, secure those credit cards with the equity of your home, which is what a refinance does. And then be in a situation where you jack up those credit balances again and be obligated to those payments on top of the payment that you just agreed to with the new mortgage. So my advice is for a good purpose for a refinance is to use whatever savings that refinance creates, use that as extra cash on top of all of your debt payments and pay those debts off as quickly as possible. Start with the one with the smallest balance after the refinance, pay that off, take both of those payments, the extra cash you had plus the payment from that amount, and work on the next list or the next debt on the list, snowball that payment down. You'll find in about less than 8 years on average, all of your debts will be paid off. And instead of saving a few $100s a month, you'll be having a situation where you've got thousands of dollars a month that will be yours to keep because you're no longer paying on your debt payments. So let's recap real quickly. 3 tips. Number 1, the best terms. Number 2, shop creatively. And number 3, use the money you save monthly from the refinance and pay off all of your debt to liberate all of your debt payments and cash flow and have a situation where you have thousands of dollars in your pocket every month for the rest of your life.